A female Black Panther in Wakanda forever? Shuri, you can't be serious.
Now available in paperback and e-readers, The Temptation of John Haynes. Given to temptation, pick up this action-packed African-American paranormal romance. Get The Temptation of John Haynes in paperback and e-readers today. The cat's out of the bag with Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. And after watching the official trailer for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, I can officially call it Black Panther Wakanda Forever because this movie is going to be whack with Shuri as the Black Panther. Now, what I saw in that trailer was a jumbled mess of a movie which basically had no real sense of direction. Now, the original Black Panther was supposed to be building the world of Wakanda, and it was supposed to be with the Black Panther T'Challa as a central focus. But what I saw in Ryan Coogler's visuals in the trailer for Black Panther Wakanda Forever was a desperate attempt to try to salvage a movie in the aftermath of the passing of Chadwick Boseman in 2020. Because what I saw on screen was they say is supposed to be a tribute to the late Chadwick Boseman, but when I look at what I saw on screen, I just saw desperation of a studio scrambling to go out here and cover the costs for an announcement that Kevin Feige made with his mouth. Basically, his mouth wrote a check for Marvel Studios that its ass basically can't cash at this point. Because back in 2018, when Black Panther was the #1 movie in America and went on to become the #1 movie in the world, your Kevin Feige basically made a big announcement that he was going to make a Black Panther 2 in 2022. And passively, he wanted to try to capitalize on the success of Black Panther, but aggressively, what he was trying to do was trying to stall for time because Black Panther proved to be a bigger success than he anticipated, and he didn't really know what to do as related to the Black Panther character. Because the Black Panther character was a part of Phase 3 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and basically when they announced the film, they expected it to fail. However, it turned out to be the highest grossing Marvel Studios film in history, and your Kevin Feige basically was stuck being made to make a sequel to this film because of its popularity with black audiences. However, he really didn't want to make the film, and it really showed, again, by the way, he made it a part of Phase 4, a jumbled, directionless mess that your Marvel Studios has fallen into, and as the final part of Phase 4, it's looking like the film that possibly could be the nail in the coffin for this disastrous phase of Marvel Studios films until we get the reboot of Blade, which will possibly be the rock bottom point for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, your Black Panther Wakanda Forever basically is a film that was a rudderless ship once the lead star, Chadwick Boseman, sadly passed away in 2020. Unfortunately, your Kevin Feige had already committed money to your Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which was originally Black Panther 2, and he was basically stuck up a creek without a paddle, because this was the same scenario that took place with Halle Berry's Catwoman in 2004. Back in 1992, after the success of Batman Returns, your Warner Brothers quickly announced a Catwoman movie, supposedly to star Michelle Pfeiffer. And what happened with the Catwoman movie was Michelle Pfeiffer wasn't available to go do a Catwoman movie right after that, and then later on she just decided to pass on playing the role again, and the studio was stuck up a creek because they had already allocated money to produce a Catwoman movie, and they had no star to feature in it. Now, they had several actresses come and go as related to the Catwoman movie, as the project languished in development Hades. And as the project languished in development Hades, they were incurring lots of costs as related to pre-production, and they desperately needed to get this production into production. So they recruited a filmmaker called Patoff, and then they offered Halle Berry $15 million so that they could try to recoup some of their pre-production costs. And Halle Berry sadly accepted the role, thinking that it would be the springboard that would take her career to another level right after her Oscar win for Monsters Ball. Unfortunately, because this film was in development Hades and had suffered multiple script rewrites and multiple actresses rejecting the role, it basically turned into a disaster that basically ended Patoff's filmmaking career and ended Halle Berry's whole career as a serious actress. And the same thing sadly may possibly happen with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because your Black Panther Wakanda Forever is a film that was slapped together out of desperation, and because it was slapped together out of desperation, then I definitely know there's not going to be any sort of quality as related to this production. Now, your Kevin Feige, in his efforts to try to salvage this Black Panther Wakanda Forever film, is not trying to market to the black male audience that made Black Panther the #1 movie in America for 2018, and that may be a major tactical mistake by your Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios. No, what Marvel Studios is trying to do to market their new Wakanda Forever is they're trying to sell the movie as a movie for black women, and they're trying to make black women the main focus of the film. However, when it comes down to black fantasy and black science fiction, the core audience is black men, and if you go out here and don't target those black men, you may wind up losing half of your box office, and that could be the thing that leads to Black Panther Wakanda Forever being the second big flop of the year, next to Sony's The Woman King. Now, your Black Panther Wakanda Forever and The Woman King share a lot of similarities, and those similarities are that you're trying to put a woman up in a very masculine looking role, and then you want to put females as the lead of a kingdom, and that's something that turned off a lot of viewers as related to The Woman King, and possibly could wind up leading to a lot of viewers being turned off as related to Black Panther Wakanda Forever, because the whole story of a kingdom without a king is something that most black male fantasy and sci-fi fans don't want to see, nor do they want to see the whole idea of a non-black invader in the form of Namor coming to Wakanda to invade it, because that kind of story is a turnoff for black viewers, because it really reminds us of what happens in our black community, how there are no black men to protect the community, and how you got these non-black invaders coming in, and your black woman looking like she's defenseless and possibly looking to go out here and possibly swirl. And the whole idea of a swirl mariner, that's not something that's going to really get people interested in watching your Black Panther Wakanda Forever. But the biggest insult to black male viewers is that they've just erased the Black Panther from his franchise, and that was something they were trying to do ever since 2018's Black Panther, where they basically marginalized Black T'Challa in his own movie. Now he's no longer a part of his own movie, and with your T'Challa no longer a part of his own movie, many black men really don't have an incentive to go watch this movie, because if there's no T'Challa in the Black Panther movie, then there's no real reason to care about Black Panther. Now, I believe that your Disney was already originally planning on further marginalizing T'Challa, even if they were to recast the role, but this whole movie is just being made for the sake of being made, which is a major tenet of Phase 4, where many of these movies really don't answer the critical question many screenwriters, like myself, have to answer, and that is, why should we care? And there's no real reason to care about Black Panther Wakanda Forever at this point, because we're not getting a picture of Wakanda that shows us T'Challa, the Black Panther, ruling his kingdom, protecting his kingdom, and being a strong image of black manhood and black masculinity. No, what we're getting is the 2-hour equivalent of your Captain Marvel, Rescue, the Wasp, and all of those other women, and Scarlet Witch in Avengers Endgame. And that was a sequence in Avengers Endgame that most people basically hated, because they didn't want to see the strong woman taking on Thanos. No, what we wanted to see was the Hulk getting his comeback and saying Hulk is the strongest one there is. That's what we wanted in Avengers Endgame. And what we wanted with Black Panther is we wanted to see Black Panther on screen. And again, sadly, while Chadwick Boseman passed away in 2020, I believe the best thing to do was to end the Black Panther franchise and just eat the cost of the pre-production. I believe that would have been the best thing to do in the long term, as related to the Black Panther whole franchise, would have been to just basically say, okay, your Chadwick Boseman has passed away. This is his signature role. So what we're going to do is retire the Black Panther franchise and then focus on developing a brand new character like the Blue Marvel or one of the other black male characters. I believe that would have been the best thing for Marvel Studios to do as related to the franchise. That would have been the thing to do, but sadly Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios, Disney executives, were so caught up in their greed that they only thinking about was getting another big box office, and they thought that the most of the box office came from your black single mothers and your black mothers who were taking their kids to the movie, not understanding that the core base of who was going to see most Black Panther tickets were being bought were by black men who had been supporting the character ever since his inception back in the 1960s. And many of those black men created a covert contract with Marvel Studios, believing that if they went out here and bought tickets to see Black Panther, this would open the door for more black fantasy and black science fiction films. Unfortunately, Disney has refused to honor that contract, and in fact has slapped many of those Black Panther fans right in the face, and basically did this because they cast all of these women in the lead for Black Panther Wakanda Forever, and forgot all about the black men, because there are basically no black men in this film. And basically they show how little respect they have for all of those black men who went out here and bought Black Panther comics over the years, and went out here and spent hundreds of millions of dollars to make Black Panther the #1 movie in America. That is the biggest affront, as I see it, as related to Black Panther, how your Disney basically insulted the black male audience that went out here and supported this movie. No, instead of going out here and supporting those black male viewers by giving them a substitute in the form of the Blue Marvel or one of the other black male characters in the Marvel universe, they go out here and disrespect the black male audience by trying to pander to a black female audience that really isn't interested in science fiction and fantasy. And then you load the movie up with Shuri and Ironheart, but Shuri and Ironheart are no real substitute for the T'Challa, the original Black Panther. But this just shows how completely off the rails the Marvel Cinematic Universe has become over the last couple of years, as Phase 4 has gone on. And as Phase 4 has gone on, we have seen the Marvel Cinematic Universe go from a tightly directed, focused ship where we saw movie after movie sequence into each other organically to becoming completely derailed over the course of the last couple of films and Disney Plus series, which really don't come together organically to build a bigger story. And with the damage done to most of the characters, I do not see how your Kevin Feige is going to go out here and create the so-called multiverse saga, because with the character of Kang, Kang is a very complex character, and even the best comic book writers struggle with Kang the Conqueror. I mean, I remember storylines like The Crossing, where they were trying to say Tony Stark was a pawn of Kang, and that basically derailed the Iron Man character in the comics for the last couple of decades. So characters like Kang the Conqueror are very complex and very hard to use, and you have your Marvel Studios talking about they're announcing a multiverse saga, but if you have the kind of incompetent writers you have in Phase 4, then this is not going to work out very well for them, because again, with Kang, in order for him to work on screen, we need Tony Stark, we need Steve Rogers, we need Thor Odinson, we need the Vision, we need the Scarlet Witch, and sadly, many of those characters have been killed, or they have been aged out, like in the case of Steve Rogers, or they've been completely emasculated and turned into Medea with a hammer, like Thor, and they're not really ready for a serious storyline like Kang the Conqueror, because I don't see a Shuri Black Panther, a She-Hulk, or any of these other characters being able to take on a formidable threat like Kang. I just see that Marvel Studios has basically painted itself into a corner, and when it comes down to Wakanda Forever, this basically is the movie that I believe will be the nail in the coffin for the Marvel Cinematic Universe before they hit rock bottom with the next Phase 5, or as I like to call it, Fail 5, because there are some serious structural problems. And again, this revelation of Shuri as the Black Panther really shows how the cat's out of the bag, and that cat that's out of the bag shows that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is in some serious trouble. Now, if you want to pick up some of my action-packed African-American fantasy fiction, like the ISIS series, the E-Steam series, the John Haynes series, and the books of the Spinsterella trilogy, you can find all those books on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find them on Smashwords, the iBookstore, and Google Play. And if you want to see me make more videos like this, you can donate to my Patreon, my PayPal, or my Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and ebook, The Man Who Rules the World. John Haynes must bring together men and gods to overcome a threat that seeks to destroy the planet. The Man Who Rules the World. Now available in paperback and e-readers everywhere.